Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Jack Frost, specifically, of course, the horror movie that came out in 1997.
Yes.
Because for once, a normal family movie ripped off of Jack Frost, unless if it's just a coinky dink.
I feel like it was a coinky dink. Because it's a little closer to the old school Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
So.
It's just funny because the family film literally came out the year after.
Yep.
But anyways, but before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, today, using my Please Don't Kill Me mug, I am drinking the Plum Deluxe Strawberry Honeysuckle Black Tea. It's got black tea, strawberry pieces, raspberry leaf, calendula, honeysuckle essence, and it has caffeine.
And I am drinking Rishi's Tea and Botanicals Lavender Mint Organic Botanical Blend Caffeine-Free Tea. It's a lot on the front there.
Yep.
And this one's got organic peppermint, organic sage, organic licorice root, organic lavender, and natural lavender extract. I appreciate you letting me bust into your stash.
Yeah, of course. But as always, thank you to Plum Deluxe for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary of Jack Frost, credit to IMDb. After an accident that left murderer Jack Frost dead in genetic material, the vengeful killer returns as a murderous snowman to exact his revenge on the man who sent him to be executed. I feel like that was kind of a mouthful. Like, they could have, I know I'm criticizing IMDb when I didn't make up my own summary.
I mean, it's just spree killer turned snowman.
Yes.
And goes on a rampage. That's basically it.
Yep. But so for entertainment, I will give this a 7.25.
I knew this would be one you loved.
And to be fair, I have watched this movie before. This wasn't my first time.
I had forgotten I had seen this one before.
Oh. But the beginning of the movie with the story time is kind of a nice way to set the mood for the movie, because it's like with a title like Jack Frost, you're like, what kind of horror movie? Especially like the cover of it. The cover of it looks scary but stupid at the same time, and you're not really sure. Yeah. So I feel like it was smart of them to have the story set up in the beginning, because it kind of already sets the tone for what kind of mood you can expect.
The cover reminds me of a sci-fi original. A little bit.
See, for me, it looks like a classic horror movie, because it's just like, the snowman, he's like, But
yeah. I don't know. They made it look a bit more skeletal.
Yeah, they did.
So, he didn't match the cover at all.
Yeah, disappointment, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the cover is a little bit deceiving for what you're expecting, because whenever I very first watched the movie, I was like, this is going to be awesome. And then I'm like, the snowman looks so stupid.
Yeah.
He literally looks like Frosty.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. But anyways, gotta appreciate the bad puns in the movie.
So many.
And the kills are absolutely
Yes.
ridiculous. Like whenever he kills the woman in the tub and she's just like spazzing in the bathtub at getting quote unquote electrocuted. It's just and then like how he bashes this woman's head into like ornaments and then being killed with like icicles, just
Yeah.
all of the deaths. Like I like that all of the deaths are unique and they're pretty
The
creative.
sled decapitation.
Yes, yeah. So it's like this movie very much is like the deaths is a part of the comedy of the movie. Um, and then the effects, while they are absolutely terrible, I will say they were entertaining and they felt like creative. Like it wasn't like, oh, we're on a low budget and we're just going to come up with whatever effect. It's like it felt like the people that were creating this movie were having a good time creating it and
On a low
just
budget.
they just decided to go all out with like the effects and the mood and the terrible jokes and stuff like that. So
They leaned hard into it.
very hard. So, but yep,
So I give it a 5.5.
no judgment.
I had legitimately forgotten I had seen this movie before a couple of times. And I remembered after seeing the stupid snowman when the ice teeth came in. That's when I
Oh.
was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
So it's a fairly forgettable movie for me. It is funny at times, but because it's so cheesy and all, it's not exactly my cup of tea,
Uh-huh.
so to speak. But I can see why other people would thoroughly enjoy it. So it's, you gotta just go with what you feel like, honestly. If you are really into like heavy cheese kind of scary movies, which it's not that scary, but you know, very deaths and everything, then you'll likely enjoy it. It is definitely one that I think I would have enjoyed more if I watched it with someone else. But because I prefer things that are a bit more realistic, I don't mind comedy. Don't get me wrong. There are movies that I will laugh my ass off in and have a blast. But this one just kind of misses my type of humor. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I know Alyssa did. And the effects, because I like the realism for effects, it just was absolutely ridiculous and made me roll my eyes more than anything. So it's not really for me, but it's also not like a really bad movie either. It's just kind of sort of middle of the pack, blends
Yeah.
into the background kind of movie for me, personally.
Yeah, I mean, compared to like other movies,
Oh, yeah.
it's an okay movie, but I think it's because it's like it kind of found its niche in the Christmas horror.
Yeah,
There's not really a lot of great Christmas horror,
there's
so this one kind of
not.
stands out a little bit.
But if I'm going for somewhat cheesy with mixed effects kind of movies, I'm going to go for A Christmas Horror Story. Every time.
Yeah.
So, that's. Or Krampus. Like, those are the kinds of ones that I would grab first, not this one. This one's kind of for me.
So for realism, I would give this. I mean, it's hard to rate this one, but because it's like it's very unrealistic, but compared to like some other movies we've seen, I'm like, well, it's not like totally unrealistic. So
I give it a 1.
yeah, hey, it's my turn. And so Jess copied
give
me
zero
because
cares.
I give it a
Copied.
1.
I said it first. Back off.
I literally it's on my phone. It's
Like, I could see that. You had to scroll up to get there, woman.
but anyways, so like So after he was hit with the chemicals, whenever his body was like becoming more like skeletal, he was
Yeah.
still trying to get up. It's like, I'm sorry, you would not have any, you literally didn't have any muscles left. They were coming off your
Yep.
bone. Like, so that's not
It
possible.
also happened way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast.
Which, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a freak chemical out there that can do that.
Maybe, but
And then, like,
there's just so much wrong with this movie.
and then whenever the girl's in the tub, I forgot her name, I'm sorry.
I don't remember any other names.
But she's like calling for Tommy, and Tommy nods his head after she says thank you when he literally has an icicle in his head. No. He would be dead. And then I think it was like at the very end when they were all trying to come after Jack Frost, but it's like they're trying to search for him and he sneaks up on them and starts killing them. And it's like, how did they not notice the gigantic snowman coming menacingly towards them? It's just like, first of all, snow is very crunchy and very noisy. So there's that aspect, but the fact that there's visually this gigantic
Very
snowman.
crunchy.
Like,
At least in our Texan experience.
yeah. I mean, but even like powdery snow, like whenever you step on it,
Once
and
it gets compacted, yeah.
yeah, then it gets crunchy. But I can't think of a better word to describe that.
There's not really much fun, but I feel like there should be.
Yeah, is there a specific word, whether in English or a foreign language, describing the crunch of snow when you step on it? But anyways,
Anyway.
and then also at the very end of the movie, Jack would not be sentient still after becoming Sledge, though arguably him becoming a snowman, he shouldn't be sentient because he doesn't have a brain. But because it's like, for me, in a more quote unquote realistic thing, I'm like, okay, if his DNA was broken down and he like combined with the chemical, I would think more it would be like the chemical coming after people. I don't know. It's out there. It's out
Yeah,
there.
if the brain is liquefied, then the memories are too. They're lost.
Yeah, so it's like,
So it'd be
honestly, he
if
would just
he
be Sledge
reformed.
that he can't do anything.
Yeah, if he reformed and if it created an actual being, even if it was sentient, it wouldn't have the memories left over from the original being. It would be
Yeah.
a different being.
It'd be like evil chemical, like it just, yeah. Anyways, that's what
Yeah.
I got.
So there was way too much in this movie for me to write down everything that was unrealistic. The entire movie is unrealistic. Let's just
Yeah.
put that out there right now. The entire movie is unrealistic. But it's a lot of it has to do with the effects, like the acid spraying like a hose. No. The sled decapitation, the dude being dissolved too fast and moving long after most muscle mass was broken down, and then disappears into the snow without a trace. Like there's no sludge or anything left, it's just snow. No. The dummy corpse that the effects were clearly not an actual person. But they did their best, and we have seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they had a fairly low budget, so you know, it felt somewhat 80s vibe, almost at times. Not throughout the whole movie, just at times, especially with the effects.
Yeah. Which is surprised. Yeah, because it came out in '97. Like,
Yeah, they had better things. They just didn't use it. But the snow on the snowman being the wrong texture, it looked like felt. Or something akin to felt. The entire movie. And it just took me completely out of it. And I kept staring like at the texture of the snowman and I'm like, this is wrong. Wait, what's going on? Like it bothered me so much.
See, I didn't really notice it that
I
much.
don't know why my brain latched on to that particular feature, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and it just bugged me throughout the rest of the movie. The head not breaking when they hit it with the sled or it hitting the ground, like of the snowman, when he knocked the head off the kid. Actual snow would have gone and exploded, basically, or broken apart at least. And no, it didn't act as snow does. They had horrible gun safety. Like the sheriff himself, they make jokes that he can't hit the broadside of a barn, but officers are required to have some form of gun training and safety. And they're also, if I recall right, required to occasionally go back and retest their shooting skills. Like, that is a thing, a required thing. And I don't care how small a town you are, there are still regulations that have to be followed.
The only thing I wonder though is if it varies between like counties and states and stuff like that, where it's like, counties can have like stricter policies. So like,
They might, but they'd at least have some kind of standard. If he can't hit anything at all, that's a bit of a problem and would actually be a huge liability.
yeah,
Huge liability. So, no. But it really bugs me when people were just running around with horrible gun safety. Like, this is how you kill others that you're not intending to, or yourself. With stupidity. If you're gonna have a gun, please, 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 please learn proper gun safety. That's all I ask. The snowman driving with no feet, which happened a couple of times. The fact that, I know this is another small thing, but when the guy, I think his name is Tommy, it might have been Tommy, it might have been someone else, I don't know. Dude opens a freezer and it's packed full of frost.
yes,
That's a problem. And he doesn't comment on it or anything. This is just a normal thing and he's fine with it. And doesn't try to figure out what's going on, doesn't let her know, hey, your freezer is completely full of frost here, there's something wrong. No. I know this is mostly just a small homeowner thing, but that is a huge problem. But again, there was so much wrong. Like, at that point, I gave up writing down unrealistic things. It was about that point where I'm just like, you know what? I've run out of space for realism. I can't keep doing this, and I would nitpick the entire movie, and we'd be here all day talking on just this episode of how unrealistic it is. So, blanket statement, this movie is not realistic at all. It gets a 1. Really, the only thing that I can find fairly realistic is like the kid that gets accused of killing the bully. Like, that kid in general is just, I love how interested he is in cooking and baking, and it's so sweet, and how fast he rushes out to do the face for the snowman, and all, like, his childlike enthusiasm is amazing and infectious and accurate. But that's about it. Everything else just doesn't make that much sense. Maybe the teenager's sneaking off at some point to go have sex. Maybe. Maybe. They're in a small town. What else are they gonna do? And she's trying to rebel a little bit. So, maybe. But other than that, it's like, just toss realism out the window, why don't you? That's what I got. It's a Christmas horror movie with cheesy effects.
yeah. Like for me, I think overall it's a fun Christmas horror movie, but it is more for those who want like to laugh
Yeah.
rather than be scared. Like I
Yeah.
think it's a good Christmas party movie.
Yeah. I was going into it, one, forgetting that I had even seen the movie, and two, looking at the cover, expecting more serious horror. And because that's not what I got, I think that also kind of tinged it a little bit.
Yeah, like I will say, whenever I very first watched the movie, I was a little bit disappointed it
Yeah.
wasn't more serious. But but that was at a time in my life where I'm like, I watch a horror movie to be scared.
Yeah.
But it's like nowadays, since I feel like we have a more well-rounded experience of horror movies, now I feel like I can enjoy the horror movies that aren't like explicitly scary.
I don't mind it. I just would like to not be misled into it. I want to know what I'm getting.
Well, but I feel
They
like
didn't even give us what was on the cover.
yeah. But I feel like the so did the beginning of the movie not like tip you off that it was more like silly?
Not entirely, because we've seen some other movies where, like, the effects or the situation itself is kind of silly, but the rest of the movie is fairly serious about it. So I was giving it the benefit of the doubt, and I shouldn't have. Probably what it boils down to.
Yeah. But
But it's a silly one, so watch it with someone else so you can laugh at it a little better. It is not scary. Don't go into it thinking it's scary. It does not take itself seriously.
maybe drink some eggnog if
Yeah.
you're of legal drinking age.
Yeah. Find a suitable adult beverage if you're of age. If not, just watch it with friends. It's whatever.
Or if you don't drink alcohol like we do,
Yeah.
you can always enjoy it with some tea.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us today, and please comment on what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea and keep up to date with our content, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we do have a Discord server, and most places you listen to podcasts.
And if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. If you'd like to support us monetarily, we do have a Teespring and a PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Plum Deluxe. It does not affect the price of the tea at all. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye!
Bye.